Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binaries, as you see fit to call yourselves, interplanetary, intergalactic time travelers. Sounds pretty cool to me. Greetings, one and all. It's 1:28 p.m. West Coast time. We're looking at June 29th, 2022. It's the dog. Is it the dog days of summer? It's the dog days of summer. I'm not sure if it's technically the dog days of summer. I think that's a little later, but it's the kitty cat of the summer. This is the kitty cats of the summer. But I want to chime in briefly on the January 6th. What do you call it? The decommission, the show trial, the Liz Cheney help me, I'm hurting in re-election in Wyoming campaign. I have no idea. To be honest, I can't figure out what Liz Cheney is doing there. It doesn't really make sense. I mean, yes, it's target practice, but for who? I mean, the only people that would really want to applaud that or cheerleading are people that already hate Trump's guts. I mean, doesn't it seem odd? They're trying to rewrite history, maybe. Maybe they're trying to forge a framing, but for who? Again, this is the people that already don't like. They're already convinced. The independents and moderates, swing voters, what they're doing and the structure of what she's doing, Liz Cheney, because she seems to be kind of the bully of the microphone in the video there. She's the chair of the committee, if you will. So I'm trying to figure out what benefit. Now, my take on that, my political independent lens, would be like, give it some spice. Do kind of a Perry Mason showroom trial where, I mean, why not? Entertain both sides, and you can still drop all this crap. You can call up your witnesses and have them drop a bunch of bizarre stories of hearsay of Tony told me that Larry saw Trump lunging for his throat. Trump had a spork and jammed it into the driver's. Blood was squirting out the side of the driver's head, and Trump said, "I'm the president, motherfucker. Drive my ass to the Capitol." And everybody said, "Yes, sir. That's right." I don't know. This Cassidy Hutchinson, the bombshell testimony. I like to get all the different perspectives. That's one of the things I find value in. That's one of my strengths politically, is even though I'm strongly opinionated, I look at all the sides, left, right, up, down, authoritarian, civil libertarian. I try to look at all the perspectives on something. And one of the people I drop in to do that is Megyn Kelly. I don't know, I'm kind of a sucker for a woman that's brilliant with blonde highlights. That is true, as embarrassing that is to admit. It's one of my things. I don't know. You got your thing, so you watch it. But I like to listen to her. And she is easy on the eyes, but I don't agree with her a lot of times. That's not the point, right? That's not the point. This is what we got to get back into. America is we look at all the different perspectives and lens that could be in the argument, in the arena. It's great value. We've lost that. We're going into Cold War feces slinging on behalf of the left, and the right's just got shields trying to shield themselves from all this feces slinging. Again, just my perspective. But Megyn Kelly, she has not been a super fan of Trump, and that's one of the reasons I like to kind of drop in on see what she's got going on, her perspective, her tone, and so it was kind of interesting where she comes out and says, "Hey, I'm not a fan of Trump." Everybody knows that. I think she was actually kind of harsh. I don't know the history of that because somehow she left. I don't know. It doesn't matter. However she got to it, she's got her own Sirius FM show, and she was talking about this Cassidy Hutchinson. So let's listen to a second of it. Oh, okay. Before I dive into that, I did want to right here, this quick little pocket astrologer. I did want to throw in a couple of 2 cents. So the moon, we're just coming out of a new moon. Now, a moon can be just as powerful as the full moon. New moons, full moons, you don't hear much about the new moon, but it's just as powerful and its effect on the water, the brain, the electrical wiring of people's heads. Mostly their brain is water, and in some cases it's all water. Unfortunately, we got to reverse that in America soon, ASAP. So, but it was a new moon. Also, it looks like Neptune went retrograde, so there's a lot of water. I noticed last week Venus went into Gemini, so that's one of my metaphors, Gemini, of the rapids, level 4, level 5 river rapids, which can be lethal, really, if you're not careful, but don't panic and you won't die. Okay? Listen to me, Larry, you're not going to die if you don't panic. So the new moon, and it's in Cancer, which is the crab. Again, water. So we got this water theme going on, and it's summertime. Yeah, I'm thinking about the river. I wish I had a driver and take us on out to the river right now, but so it's on my mind. But I also see like some sort of framing of potential danger. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm seeing an airplane into the ocean, and so with Neptune, the ocean, the king of the water, him going retrograde, it could be like things appearing like it's going backwards, or we're revisiting something that's already happened going backwards again. Like maybe I see a plane going down into the ocean. I don't know what the water tragedy is, but heads up. And there's always going to be people that drown every summer, every freaking year here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. It's not always tourists, sometimes it's the locals. And you don't realize how cold that water still is. So I guess that's my public service announcement. Now, this weekend, Monday, the 4th of July, we've got Mars going into Taurus. So you've got more of that Tauran head-butting energy of dominance, and sometimes just blind, not really stubbornness. I mean, it can just blaze forward. That can be a heads up. That could be a red flag. Literally with the bulls, the red flag, the bull charges the red flag. And then you've got Mercury going into Cancer. So more Cancer, more crab, more water, more introverted, the hard shell, but vulnerable on the inside. The lack of ability to communicate and speak. All of these are major issues, especially with Venus and Gemini. Now, I love it. I'm like, bring the Gemini energy. Bring it. Because I've got a bunch of it in my prenatal chart. So anyway, that's the brief wrap up. I know, thank you for sitting through that. If those of you that find it's hocus pocus and it's a rabbit out of a hat. Okay, let's check out this here.
Hutchinson claims that Trump, after that rally, got in his presidential limousine known as the Beast, demanded to go to the Capitol, and had a physical altercation with his driver when the driver refused to take it.
Physical, that was the testimony.
To the effect of, I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now. To which Bobby responded, sir, we have to go back to the West Wing.
Okay, so this is that Cassidy lady. They wheeled her out, the brunette that looks like you could believe every doggone thing she's ever said. She looks like the girl next door. She looks like the woman that would never, ever say a lie, ever, to anyone in her whole life. Figuratively speaking. But that's her. And personally, I know that woman. I know that's how they look, and I know that's how they get you. They got you. And everything in her life has been a lie. Everything she's ever told you is a lie. That's that woman to me. But when you see her and America sees her, they're thinking, this woman's never told a simple white lie in her life. Cassidy Hutchinson.
The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm. Said, sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing.
We're going back to the West Wing, sir!
Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel. And when Mr. Renato had recounted the story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
Okay.
So at this point, this is the President Trump in the Beast. This is the testimony in front of the committee yesterday. This surprise testimony from this woman in a white jacket's never lied in her life, saying what she heard Tony tell Larry. Larry said over cocktails, told her that that's what he saw. That's her testimony. She's claiming the president reached up. This is the ultimate backseat driver. I mean, this isn't the guy that goes, take a left, hey, take a right, no, right here, stop, man, you suck driving. This guy actually, this is the claim, Cassidy claims the president reached up forward with a sharpened spork. You know, the McDonald's, it's half spoon, half fork. Grabbed that and then jabbed that into his driver's neck right here to commandant the steering wheel. This is her testimony. The president of the United States, reached through there, jammed a spork. Well, that part actually I added the spork in the throat. But there was a lunging, choking motion to his driver, the clavicles, where it was a fist fight brawl over control of the beast. And the president said, I'm the fucking president. We're going to the Capitol. And everybody said, yes, sir, we're taking you to the Capitol. Why? Because Trump, why would Trump want to go into that mayhem? Why? Because he wanted to bring peace. He wanted to bring the little baby Jesus. And he wanted to bring peace. Now, if Trump would have gone to the Capitol, there would have been no penetration into looking for Pelosi's laptops. It would not have been the Antique Roadshow where everybody's sampling their favorite tater salad. I love tater salad so much. They do too. It wouldn't have been like that because Trump would have brought the security, Trump would have brought the Secret Service, Trump would have brought off all of that type of oversight and security protection. The basic things that they had for him at his speech, which I noticed they had glass, bulletproof, some sort of shielding glass. I've never seen that before in a Trump speech, and they had that January 6th when he told everyone, let's go to the Capitol now peacefully, which they edited all that out of the committee. Liz Cheney trying to paint her own painting of what happened. And that's what this was about here. They were talking about that. Well, first, let me stick with this whole knife fight, this spork fight over here. So she's claiming that, it was an attempt to paint Trump as some sort of a lunatic, where he's bare knuckle wrestling with his staff, spork fights to take control of the beast of the vehicle so he could get his ass up there by himself like a parachuter without any other teammates. He's going to parachute into the Capitol and commandeer and give the best speech of his entire political career, which he's already given that speech, just gave it and wrapped it up just a few hundred yards, just a few, I don't know how many exactly. Let's just say it was 100 yards from that Capitol. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And that's why I'm calling out this Cassidy Hutchinson. I'm very thankful that people like Megyn Kelly is telling her audience, hey, heads up on this committee. There is no balance. There is no, the whole thing is a frame job. It's the framing of it. And that's a huge F up on their part, because this could have been interesting. This could have been the public square. This could have been that debate if you wanted to relive it. I only the Democrats want to keep reliving January 6th, to be honest. But if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to make that right, do it proper. Let people come in, let testimony, do more of a Perry Mason official courtroom type setting, where you have people, witnesses called, cross-examinations. Make it interesting to where both sides could watch the same thing, watch it play out, and say, wow, did you see this? Did you hear that? What was that testimony? Just like this. This is what they did to Marjorie Taylor Greene. They were trying to keep her from the ballot, an unconstitutional move in Georgia. It doesn't matter whether you like her or don't like her or find her phobic or non-phobic. It doesn't matter. She has a right to have the people elect her into office or not. Democrats do not have a right to step in and prevent Republicans from being on the ballot just because they don't like them. That's called totalitarian fascism. And that's what Democrats have become. And you don't think America can see that? Liz Cheney and gang, you don't think America can't see that committee is rigged and it's trying to frame, omitting out huge segments of video of what actually Trump said? Let's go patriotically and peaceful to the Capitol? Really wild. And so, in my opinion and take, trying to frame Trump as this badass who's brawling just gives him a superhero status. I mean, it's like you're only just fluffing him up to the most important people you need to be focusing on. That's the moderates and the independents right down the middle, like myself. Not the diehard MAGA, not the diehard patriots, although there's nothing wrong with those people. I love them. It's a part of America. You should love them too. You don't have to. It's like a family reunion. You don't have to love everybody there. You love the family cell. You love the family cell, even though you can't stand some of those family members. Or maybe everybody. No. It happens like that sometimes in America. But, you still sample each other's tater salad. There's still competitive tater salad. So, that's my side take on it. But my independent lens on that is you're building up Trump by creating these sport knife fights, by saying that he was angry at AG Barr. America was angry at Barr. 100 million plus people. Don't you think they can identify with Trump throwing his ketchup at his French fries against the wall? Yes, we can. That's what people were saying all kinds of horrific things about Mike Pence, Vice President Mike Pence. Some rickety little gallows, which looks like some sort of FBI intel operation. I mean, nobody could even hang from that. I mean, come on. It's all rickety with a couple of tacks in it. That's supposed to be the gallows. That's supposed to be the gallows. And they're screaming, that's hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence. Bad optics. I saw it, I heard it. I even heard that talk weeks before that installation. And I knew right then it had to have been an inside smear job because it was so stupid and so horrific optics. I mean, you just don't say shit like that. It's stupid. And MAGA and Patriots are not that stupid. It's an inside job in my opinion. But regardless, you have to admit that Trump definitely was tossing Pence underneath the beast, if you will, because he felt betrayed. And that's understandable. America felt betrayed. The MAGA and the Patriots felt betrayed. Half of America, if you will, of those 150 million people right down the middle. 70, 80 million this way, 180, 90, whatever the numbers. We seem to be 15 or 20 million ballots seem to be a little buttery, a little loose, if you will, where it all worked out. But the point is that right down the middle of the independents, those are the folks that the Democrats, and I keep calling them Democrats, but it's the Republicans in name only. Liz Cheney, these people, these Lincoln Project type people, are behaving together as if they're in alignment, which they are, of Democrat neocons. So you have Democrat neocons and you've got Republican neocons. MAGA and Patriots do not like them, even though they are in that conservative umbrella of Republican Party. This should be obvious. I'm probably preaching to the choir, but when I hear people talk and have their opinions and analyze this stuff, it appears that they're completely forgetting this. There's nobody in that committee. So what has to happen here in 2023? I recommend that it is done. Correct the record. We have to correct the record, meaning we have to have a hearing to investigate the investigators of the hearing of January 6th. Yes, it sounds that crazy, and yes, it will be that crazy. There has to be a hearing to investigate the investigators of the hearing of the Committee 6. We have to correct the record. And we have to get some people up there. We need Speaker Pelosi. Look, what was the stand down? What was the disagreement? If you guys were so freaked out about all the guns and weapons and lunatics coming with tater salad all over their beards, coming for you, Why wouldn't you have proper Capitol Police? Why wouldn't you have go along with the request from the Trump administration to bring the National Guard? Because you didn't want the optics? No, because you wanted penetration into that Capitol. You couldn't be victims without penetration into the Capitol. And you know it. That was the plan the entire time. Stand down on Capitol Police, stand down on National Guard, bring in the camera, bring in all the federal ops. We've got them all on video saying, we're going inside! And everybody's going, glowy, glowy, glowy. We don't want to go inside. Don't make us. I don't know who said that. I heard a kid say that in the back. So, and that was the day before as he's out there working Ray Epps. Where's Ray Epps? Where's Ray Epps? Let's get Ray Epps. Somebody said, oh, well, Ray Epps came. Oh, no, Ray Epps needs cross-examination. It's not just about bringing these people in and having them go, blah, blah, blah. It's about having some proper cross-examination. The public square of the people's cross-examination. It has to be done. And now you forced it to be done. That needs to happen. Also, what needs to happen, which I am really sensing we've got rhinos in control around this little McCarthy bubble, who wants to be Speaker of the House real bad. Did you notice that? You can just see him real eager to get in there and take control as Speaker of the House. So when this red tsunami wave comes, we need to have a committee that investigates the investigators January 6th. Correct the record. And then we can start talking about real criminal indictments. Because Trump didn't do anything criminal on that situation. Yes, he was well aware that his fans came and they had weapons to defend themselves. We've been watching the entire country with the Democrats standing down and even helping bail out burn to the ground. For months and months and months, we had seen city after city. Police stations burned down. Right here in Portland, we had the federal courthouse trying to be blown up. We had Democrats right down here from Portland seated at City Hall encouraging those lunatic homicidal arsonists and rioters to blow up the federal courthouse. And they were blowing up the federal courthouse. They blew up some federal agents. That's just here in Portland. They were trying to burn officers alive in their own buildings. All on video. I'm not making this shit up. This happened all over the country. We need to investigate what happened in 2020, what happened with the J6 committee, and we need to have an impeachment of Biden. All three of those things need to happen. And we will see, and I can already sense it, I can already see these fast, footloose Republicans in name only, very clear, they do not want an impeachment. They want the crash to happen, and they want a new deal. They want to be able to pad their corporate donors, just like they did with this CARES Act and with this Corona packages. Most of that money, 90% of that money didn't go into little old us, right? In small apartments, just trying to get by. That's not where the money went. Tiny sliver. Most of that money, I don't know if you guys, most of you even realize that. I wonder what the numbers are on who knows what and how it happened with where that money, that cash went. So if you're going to blame that for the inflation, which I'm not an economist, so I don't want to go there. I'll embarrass myself, but I'm not. I'm blaming the lack of bringing those resources to the people. It didn't go to Main Street. That cash in those Corona packages went to Wall Street. And some of you know what I'm talking about. That needs better scrutiny. So, Liz Cheney, we need to have a real hearing, and we need to have a real committee, and that will happen in 2023. I hope that part at least does. The impeachment needs to happen as well for the health of America. I'd love to see it. It's one of those things as an independent, you want to see the scale balance. You want to see what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And that's a part of that process of keeping democracy, which is on life support, alive. How do we keep democracy alive? It's on life support. It's on life support. You know, it's like, right? That little, we are near death. But we're not done. We're not done. And I think that I have hope. not just some cheesy hope. I think that we can actually learn to be more mature and drop away from this arrested development, this mentality to where we have to have spork and shank fights instead of good old-fashioned, if there's a fist fight, there's a fist fight. We don't need to be shooting and killing each other either, but in the public square where we can debate the facts and debate some of these issues. We don't need to amplify and dump gasoline on a culture war. And there's things that could be done, the left could do a better job. You could back up on a whole bunch of things and still gain respect and be acknowledged for who you are and what you want with your identity politics. On the right side, we can show a little more flexibility in areas where they're willing to do, but there's fine lines that are being crossed that is creating the demise of this country because it's creating optics that is not acceptable. And I can understand that. So, let's see, do we have anything else for Megyn Kelly here, or is that the end of it?
Yeah. Does anyone really believe that Trump reached for the wheel of the beast and then tried to essentially strangle his security? I mean, please.
Trump tried to kill his
Here again,
driver.
Ms. Hutchinson was not a party to the actual exchange. A man named Tony Ornato got the story from Bobby Engel, head of Trump's security detail, who was in the car at the time. All right, so Engel was there, and he apparently told it to Ornato, who told it to Ms. Hutchinson. Ornato, when he told Hutchinson, I will say this, that guy Bobby Engel was there, so that helps her testimony. But here again, she paraphrases. If you listen to her full testimonial,
She paraphrases.
she goes on and says, well,
Yeah.
the president said something to the effect of, I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol.
Right.
What does that mean? He's
I'm the fucking president. We're going to the Capitol. That, to me, is really critical because it shows that the Trump wanted to speak to his people. They're using the testimony in the committee. Trump said, those are my people, let them in. They don't need to go through the metal detectors. I know that they've got weapons because they've been watching the country burn down by homicidal arsonists and rioters. This is what I was spraying about earlier. He knew people were going to defend themselves because the anarchos, anarcho-capitalists, anarcho-communists, Marxist coup of 2020 was in full effect, and we watched it in front of our faces. You couldn't avoid it. Of course everyone knew they did self-defense. Of course Trump knew that they were going to be there to self-defend themselves. Some of them had stronger, bigger firepower than others. I saw a whole bunch of federal officers. And we know from a fact that the Proud Boys is infiltrated and leadership was FBI. All the way, Oath Keepers, all the way down the line, all these guys were all being controlled by people that Trump was not getting along with. Again, you're turning him into an anarcho-superhero. You're turning Trump into a hero to the people that, not just the people that were MAGA-worshipping patriots, but to the independents that are saying, hey, wait a minute here, this whole committee's rigged, all of this is rigged, the FBI rigged it, the CIA's rigged it, FISA court's rigged it, this has all been rigged against Trump. Maybe elections do matter. Maybe Trump isn't just like all the rest because everybody else is against him. You can't say Trump is just like Biden when Biden and Obama's DOJ did what they have done and are continuing to do to him now. So you're warping the perspective, people, into Trump's camp rather than the opposite because how you've handled